It's coming. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's definitely coming. So I am, of course, talking about the vlog. Now, it's not just going to be a vlog. I'm launching a full YouTube channel in January 2019 that is more or less going to be focusing on photography, cinematography, audio production and graphic design. Now, if I'm honest, and I want all of my videos to be brutally honest, I must have made this video 70, 80 times, and once I get to the editing stage, something happens where all of the good intentions that I had, all of the good ideas, everything that seemed good at the time of recording seemed to disappear, and I was left editing something that I wasn't really feeling, something that, looking back, I just thought it's not right. There's something, I can't really put my finger on it, just something didn't feel right. And after the last week doing research on YouTube, I've been watching a lot of the kind of YouTubers that I subscribe to, like Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat, and no disrespect to Casey Neistat, because he's probably my favourite YouTuber of all times. Watching his videos, they're a bit chaotic sometimes. And that kinda in the last week has somehow just leapt out at me and became more apparent that his videos are chaotic. They're put together well. He's an amazing storyteller, but these videos are full of content, but when you watch it, the content is nothing special really. It's just Casey being Casey. Peter McKinnon, he seems to go out of his way more often than not to deliver high-end B-roll, we call it in the industry. Now B-roll is if you're telling a story and it's a bit of footage like this where it's me talking to the camera. I would shoot to a behind the scenes, maybe B-roll, slow cinematic footage. Everything's in slow motion and it's just something that adds to the story. Now, you're not seeing this in this video because this video it's meant to be just really simplistic. And the reason I bring this up is because Peter McKinnon, one of his videos that I rewatched in the last week, I think it was his sister that had said something to him that he wanted to get tattooed on his body, and certainly in some of his vlogs where he's in his house office, you see on the back door of his office door a phrase that his sister said to him, which was, "Done is better than perfect." Now, after rewatching this video and hearing that phrase again, it stuck with me a bit more this time that done is better than perfect, because what that means to me is every time I make a video and I start editing it and I start losing that motivation to actually upload it, it's all because there are wee bits of the video that I'm not happy with. But what I've actually been overlooking is that that's actually a positive thing, because this channel, as much as it's going to be about photography and cinematography, including the audio production and graphic design obviously. The topic is mainly photography and cinematography, and my whole idea behind the channel is cataloguing my progression in both of those skills. Now, if I'm starting off the channel with perfection, then my channel's finished. You know, I've reached what I intend. And if Peter McKinnon still believes that he needs to get better at what he does, then I'm far behind. And it then made me realise that done's better than perfect. Just get the video done, get it uploaded, and yes, there's going to be mistakes in it. Yes, there's going to be maybe poor audio or poor lighting or something in some of my videos, but that's because that's the level I'm at, and the whole idea of this channel is to be learning and growing as a cinematographer and a photographer, and documenting that in the vlogs and doing tutorials. Now, coming to the tutorial point, a lot of people ask me if there are people out there like Peter McKinnon, which has a very similar content than what I'm aiming for, and he's a much more professional photographer and cinematographer than what I am, why would someone subscribe to my channel? Now, the reason for that, and I have to say Peter McKinnon's not really guilty of this, is a lot of the photographers and cinematographers that are out there that are doing tutorials on these subjects are all professionals, and quite often we just assume that that's the best person to learn from, but I can think of many stories where that's not been the case. Not all of these stories are within the filming industry or anything like that, but if I give you an example, just a very basic example of making a cup of tea. If I was to tell you to make a cup of tea, you need to boil the kettle, pour hot water into a cup, put milk and sugar in the cup and add a tea bag, and then stir it all together and take the tea bag out and drink. A lot of you would be instantly thinking, yeah, that's how you make a cup of tea. It's not until you further analyse exactly what I've just said that you realise that that's not the full guide to making a cup of tea. I started off with you need to boil the kettle, but I didn't say that you have to put water in the kettle. I then said that you have to put hot water into a cup. I didn't say that you pour the water from the kettle into the cup, because these are things that, because a lot of you will do this on a daily basis, make yourself a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or something, you hear the steps and you just, yeah, I can relate to that because I do that every day, and yeah, that's how you make a cup of tea. But it's not until you go back and further analyse it and you see that there was actually steps missing that you maybe didn't pick up on. And the reason you didn't pick up on them is because it's second nature to you. Make a cup of tea, you can chat away to someone, make a cup of tea without even thinking, you just carry on each part of the task, and you just do it second nature without thinking. And a lot of the professional photographers or cinematographers, when they're doing tutorials, will skip things like when they say something like you need to make sure you get your ISO set properly, which is fact, you know, and a lot of the tutorials, that part is very important. You have to make sure your ISO is set, or else the image will be too dark. But they don't always explain why it has to be set, because it will be too dark or maybe too light. And more importantly, they don't tell you how to set the ISO, because it's second nature to them. They just know, looking at an image on the back of a camera, it's too dark, I need to increase the ISO so that it lets in a little bit more light. Now, that's second nature to them. They would just do that and they would expect you to understand that. And maybe that's not wrong, but if you are a complete novice, very beginner stage, maybe you don't know what ISO is and how to set the ISO. So therefore you're having to stop the video and go away and watch another video. So the reason for me doing these tutorials is to try and combat these sort of things that are overlooked in other tutorials. And the way I want to do this channel is, as I learn something, I want to take notes, I want to look back at the notes and make further notes on things that maybe weren't clear in the video that I watched, or the person that I spoke to learn a new technique, for example. I make sure that I cover the bits that were missed in my own video, so that for anyone that wants to learn long exposure, for example, they can just pick up a camera and they can go watch the video and then go out and shoot. Now, in saying all of this, there is instances of things that I wouldn't be able to cover, and these instances are things like the settings that you need for your specific camera. Now, I can tell you that if your image is too dark, you need to adjust the ISO, and I can explain to you how you do that with my camera. But if my camera is not the camera that you're using, then you're not going to be able to follow the tutorial 100%. But those kind of elements, these are all things that from camera to camera, they're not too different, but you just have to be a little bit more switched on. That if I tell you that you need to go into a menu, maybe your camera's got a quick button that you just press and it adjusts the ISO and jumps onto it. I currently work with a Canon 6D Mark II, that's what I'm filming this on just now, and there is a button on the top that I can go in and I can adjust the ISO. Or there's a more complicated way where I can go into the menu from the back of the screen, which is a touch screen, and I can adjust the ISO by clicking on ISO and turning the wheel. Now, turning the wheel is always part of selecting the ISO, but there's a button there just to jump straight onto that, and it shows me on the top of the screen, and then there's an option to go into the back of the screen, which is not a right or a wrong way. There's two separate ways. Both are right as far as I'm concerned, but one, maybe if you're in setting or settings, it's better to use it that way. So if I was to explain to you to use the top part, maybe your camera doesn't have a top screen, maybe you only have the one screen. I've got a backup camera that doesn't have a top screen. So yeah, there is a lot of things that people sometimes gloss over. So that's pretty much what the channel is going to be about. It's going to be very photography, cinematography related. The graphic design and audio production do seem like an odd part to include in something that's visual, and the reason for them are actually quite simple. I'm wanting to get more and more into YouTube, making more content. Now, if we take a YouTuber's task from start to finish, all of these elements really should be included in putting that video that a YouTuber puts on to YouTube, because cinematography, you have to have basic understanding of that, because you're putting a video together like this. Now, shooting a video, you need to have a bit of an understanding of frame rates and all that sort of stuff to be able to put a video together that you're happy with. You need to be aware of lighting, for example. I'm sitting here just now and I have a remote somewhere. I've got a remote here for my light that I can switch the light off, and you can see it makes a dramatic difference. Putting the light back on fixes the lighting on this side, which is very shadowed. This is all part of cinematography. Now, cinematography and photography are very similar, because also if this was to be just a photograph where I don't move and you can see a pretty much still photo, then you'll be looking at this and you'll be thinking that's quite shadowed on that side on that photograph. So there is two things there that seem to be quite similar, the photography and the videography, or the cinematography and the photography, sorry. Now, getting into producing high quality video is one thing, but if you're going to produce high quality video and then the audio doesn't match, it's poor audio, you're less likely to watch that video, and it's not really been worth all the hassle of making a nice looking video when the audio isn't as good. So the audio is important to a video as much as the quality of the video itself. Someone once says to me, which, thinking about it myself, I believe to be true, which was, you can watch a poor quality video providing the audio is good, but you can't listen to poor audio on a high quality video. A lot of your brain picks up on things that are happening in the scene through audio, and we like to be able to hear things clearly. Nobody likes hearing things muffled. I certainly don't like people touching my ears, especially when I'm trying to listen to something, because it muffles things and it makes it harder to hear. So audio production is very, very important to making high quality videos. And audio production can be just sticking a better quality microphone on a camera so that when you're doing a talking head, you're getting a clear audio. It could be sound effects to go with something that's happening on the film, and putting music in the background like you're hearing in the background of this video. So audio production is really, really important to making video. And the graphic design comes in with the photography, where you've made a cracking video, really high quality video, you've spent a lot of time putting the right quality of audio together, putting sound effects in, the accents, certain things that are happening in the video, put a background music just to get a bit more interest, that adds to maybe make the scene a bit more dramatic or a bit more happier or whatever you're trying to achieve. You've got all of that nailed and you want to upload the video, but if you have just a white box with no image on it as your thumbnail on YouTube, nobody's likely to click on that thumbnail. So the photography part comes in on the thumbnail. You can just take a still frame from the film itself, but some people prefer to take an actual proper photograph to try and build up a perfect visual of what the film's about, something that represents what you're about to watch. The graphic design part comes in where you might want to tweak that a bit and add some text, with a couple of icons, a logo, merge some photos together, all that sort of stuff. So all these elements all sort of merge together, and that's why I've selected these elements. Now that all covers the tutorial side of the channel, but the vlog that I'm going to be doing is going to kind of follow along these elements as well. If I'm out doing a photo shoot, I might do some behind the scenes with client's permission, obviously. If I'm doing behind the scenes, setting up and getting the lighting right, I might show you how I go about doing that, and talking to the camera, explaining what I'm doing and what I've been doing that week. Not all just about the 1 minute that the video has been made, but what's been going on, all that sort of stuff. There might be some family members appearing in it, maybe some friends appearing in it. So the vlog's pretty much just like, it's going to be more of a Casey side, where the tutorials and all of that's going to be more a Peter McKinnon side. By the way, if you're not sure who Peter McKinnon and Casey Neistat are, I'm going to link them in the channel in the description below. So those are my two favourite YouTubers at the moment, and I'm going to try and build my channel with them as inspiration. Not that I'm going to copy anything they do, but at the end of the day, very similar subjects, so there are going to be things where they will overlap and it may look like I'm copying them or they're copying me, but I can vouch for one thing, that's definitely certainly they will not be copying me, but I certainly have no intentions of copying anyone. I want to make my own content, but there will be times where it might be quite similar because of the fact that the subject matter is going to be the same. So yeah, I'm not going to get too much into this because at the end of the day this has been a long enough video, but well, I think I will want to add is I'm quite a positive person. I certainly have a positive attitude towards work, and I believe that I'm quite a hard worker as well, so the vlogs will kind of always portray a positive vibe, I hope anyway. I always want to try and stay positive and always look at the positives in any situation, and right now one of the negatives in my life are my health. Recently I've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, which is like chronic muscle and joint pain, and to be honest I'm suffering quite bad at times, and then there's other times where I forget I've got it all together because I seem to be fine. But it's a struggle some days, and there's a lot that I can do to try and not beat it, but there's a lot I can do that will make me feel better at least, and part of that is health related things like eating healthier and trying to lose weight, trying to do a bit more exercise. So I'm probably talk a little bit about that during the vlogs, but I do want to always remember what the content of the channel is about, and the health thing is really just going to come into the vlogs with a little bit. Just I think the reason I want to include it, which is completely off topic, is because it kind of cements something. If I say that I have to lose weight on camera and 6 months later you're still watching the channel, hopefully, and I've not lost weight, then I'm going to feel like I've failed. And being such a positive person, I don't like failing at anything, so that's where I want to kind of introduce that a little bit to the vlog. We've also thought a little bit about a podcast as well, which might end up being more that kind of thing. Podcast, you can't really do tutorials on cinematography and photography as a podcast because you often need the visual on, like maybe showing a desktop, showing software and having the mouse followed so that you can see what I'm doing. You can't do that in a podcast, so I have a podcast studio. I've got the photography studio where I'm going to be shooting most of my videos. So try to make the most of this full setup that I've got. So yeah, that's what the channel is going to be about. I hope this video is, although it's been quite long and boring, dare I say it, I hope you found it informative and giving you an insight of what the channel's going to hold in the future. And if it has, I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I hope you like the video and click the bell notification so that when I start uploading videos in the new year, you get notified of you get a notification of when I upload a new video. So the last thing I wanted to say before I say that that's all over, the videos will have a bit of humour in them. I'm not a serious person, so this has been a bit of a boring video. It's not been any humour in it, but certainly the future videos I hope to inject a lot more humour. So thanks for watching. I appreciate those of you that have stuck along this time. I appreciate the people that have stuck around. I appreciate the people that have stuck around this long to hear all these mistakes that have just started to happen at the end of the video we can get to that. I do appreciate you hanging about. I do appreciate if you could subscribe to the channel and like the video, and like I say, click that notification bell. See you in the next video. Bye.